good is a website if no one ever sees it? Better yet, you're going to waste your time, your effort, your energy creating something that the customers that you're trying to bring value to, that you're trying to connect with and build a connection with, don't even know that you exist. See, this is what it's like when you have a website with no form of search engine optimization, SEO. It's like having a tree in the middle of the forest. If someone's asked you to pick it out, you would know which one it is. You haven't done anything to differentiate yourself or even push yourself to where you're easily found online. Well, that's what we're going to do today. We're going to go over the foundation. We're going to go over the basics. We are going to get a little technical, but after this episode, you will have the basics down packed when it comes to search engine optimization and how to compete with the top e-commerce sites that are out there. And this works for anybody, a blog, e-commerce site, just a community, a network, whatever type of website you have. It deserves the attention you get in front of the audience that you're trying to bring value to and bring solutions to. So let's get into everything you need to know about search engine optimization right here in the Ambition Show. Let's get it. All right, now, y'all. So search engine optimization, most commonly known as good old SEO, okay, is the most important activity for a website owner. Why is it the most important activity? Because what is the point of a website if you do not want traffic, if you don't want people to come see it? Now, if your website is strictly for a small group, you don't want, new customers, you don't want hundreds of thousands of millions of people from around the world to potentially buy products or see what you're posting about, see what you're talking about, then yeah, search engine optimization really isn't a critical factor. But 9 times out of 10, you're building that website because you do want traffic outside of your small network, outside of your group. And maybe you want to build out that network at some point. The fact is, we don't own social media platforms. Hey, you can make an entire career from social media. You can make an entire job just from either developing social media platforms for people or really building up someone's social media account. And of course, being an influencer or some other form of content creator where you're focusing on social media, but you don't own those. It happens all the time where we see a business that either got hacked or, unfortunately, maybe even a performer, a personal brand, an entrepreneur, or even a business lost access to their social media platform for one reason or another. Hell, it happened in the last 2 to 3 years. We've seen multiple social media platforms just shut down, right? Where people couldn't post, people couldn't add new content, or just frankly, some people were getting kicked off and banned from those platforms because, once again, you don't own those platforms. We don't own those platforms, right? Their terms of service, their privacy policies, all those things can change overnight without warning, and they do not have to tell you beforehand, right? This is why career YouTubers, what do? They go through the terms of service. They go through the terms and conditions. They go through the privacy policies of YouTube on a regular basis. There's some fantastic channels where they focus on doing these things all the time because of the simple fact it changes all the time. And it's hard for you to keep up with stuff like that, right? This is why they're technically they have to be professional YouTubers, right? Because they have to look into those things. When you own a website, yes, you do have privacy policies. You do have terms of service. You do have terms and conditions. But at the same time, you control that platform. You own that piece of digital real estate. And without SEO, I can guarantee you, right? I can guarantee you a few things right now. Number one, you're going to spend a lot more money on advertising and influencer marketing than you really should, because there's no other way for you to get traffic. If you're not doing something to tell people what's there, what's on that platform, what you're about, what you talk about, they won't know you're there. They won't know why to come there. They won't even, let alone, why should they come there? They're not even know why should they even try to spend some money there, right? And if you're running a business, you're not advertising, that's one thing. But if you're not advertising and you're not taking advantage of search engine optimization, there's no reason to have the website at that point, honestly. Number two, you will struggle to get profitable traffic from potential customers constantly. Now, advertising and influencer marketing are great, absolutely fantastic when the goal is to, initiate a campaign, such as we have a new product releasing, or we've just launched the website, and maybe we relaunched the website and we want to get generating traffic. But consistently and over time, SEO is the better route, both from an affordability standpoint and just overall an efficiency standpoint, because whenever you're doing these advertising campaigns, you want to know what keywords to be using. You want to know what kind of content to create. You want to know what exactly you should be saying in that message that triggers a conversion, right? Gets them from being a viewer to a visitor to an actual customer. Now, we're going to get over those essentials in just a moment. We're going to go into the essentials of SEO, but I want you to keep that in mind, that yes, putting the money towards influencer marketing, content marketing, advertising, it is good. You should do that. But those are campaigns that have to be ran, of course, when you're not just launching a product, but when you are just trying to get the word out and you're being a little stronger, you want to put more investment behind it. But it cannot be done on a consistent daily basis. It's just gonna cost too much, right? And the sad part is, if you put all the money and time and effort behind advertising, but you've never established what the keywords were, you don't know what works for your brand, what kind of content works for your brand, you're gonna be throwing a bunch of stuff at the wall, right, for a significant period of time. Let's go to the essentials of SEO right now. Okay, so let's first get to it. The cornerstone, the core, the most important aspect of all SEO work, search engine optimization work, no matter what it is, you have to have your keywords. So we're going to go into the different terms, and the most important term, the most important concept to understand are keywords. The great thing about keywords is it literally is how it sounds. It's the important word. In nowadays, as we're seeing as things advance, more importantly, the phrases that people would be using to search for your product, your information, your content, your services, whatever it may be. It is the key. It's literally what opens the door, what gets it started, what gets it moving. The great part about keywords is keywords can be allocated throughout all of your content. Everything from the closed captions, everything from the description of the file, everything from, of course, the titles and the headers. We'll get more into the technical areas, but those keywords should be applied wherever possible so people can find your content. Because the whole point is the content itself, it's supposed to be the valuable information, right, that people want to find. So, for example, I'll give you a good example of keywords. And there's really two variations, if you will, right? Beyond just the word itself. Like I said, it goes to a phrase. You have what you might call a short tail keyword. Short tail keyword, real quick, very simple: shoes, right? Boots, suits, simple stuff like that. I'm not saying don't use those. I'm just going to always call out those short tail keywords. Keep in mind, they're very broad and they're very general. And what that means is you could potentially, be losing out, because somebody might come looking to your website for shoes, but they're looking for a particular type of shoe. And that's where we want to get into the long tail keyword: best running shoes for flat feet. Yes, I am giving you an example of some stuff that I've used, okay? I lost the arch in my foot. Hurts like hell. My calves are killing me. I got shin splints. It's a brutal thing. Point is, it's a whole thing. I went through a whole path. I know I'm traumatized over here, okay? So that would be the example of a long tail keyword. And those are the keywords you really want to focus on, right? It's more specific, lower search volume, which means it's lower, or typically, not in all cases, because of course, we've been, SEO's been around for a while. So you have people who are using these more often now, but usually these are the keywords that there's a lower level of competition, right? So the more specific you get, because the idea is you don't want to, you don't want to do a bait and switch. You want to have people coming to your website, like I said, once again, looking for shoes, but they're looking for a specific running shoe. They're looking for a specific type of shoe. And you just use keyword shoes all over the place, right? And that's how you want them to come to your website. You're like, oh, that's what we call wish marketing. That's hope marketing. We ain't doing that around here, right? We're getting precise. We're getting specific. That's the reason why you have a website in the first place, okay? It's because you're really trying to bring value to people and you're trying to get sales. You don't have time to waste on just playing around using, a bunch of tricks and black hat stuff that basically won't work. You're looking for actual conversions. You're looking for business. You're looking for sales. So that would be an example of the keywords you really want to focus on, those long tail keywords. Not to say the short tail or the shorter words, literally one word. You really want to focus on those phrases and put them in context, right? Not just stuffing the website full of keywords. Use them in context, because the systems that we use, we had 2 episodes now about AI. The systems that are out here, they are very, very, very sophisticated compared to where they were just 5 years ago, but especially even 15 years ago, right? To where they're getting down to the context level. The content has to fall into context, how people are looking for them. And here's one thing that gets often missed about keywords. I had this conversation with a client just a few days ago. Misspellings. Now, I was going to put that in best practices, but I'm calling that right now because it's connected to keywords. Misspellings. If you can identify the words that are misspelled a lot, basically around your whatever your service, your products, your industry, those will be very important keywords to use, because people do this all the time where they'll type in, and we've seen it. You typed it in Google, you misspelled a word, you misspelled a term or something, or you maybe rearrange the words. And then Google gives you a suggestion, right? It gives you a suggestion of what it's a fix, of what's the correction. But they also do give you actual results. The reason why they give you actual results is to say, hey, when people were looking for this, the corrected term or the corrected word, this is also what popped up, right? Do you want us to use what you already typed in, which may be a misspelling because the machine is just asking, or do you want to actually use the corrected search or the corrected results? Go for both. And a lot of people do go for both, because sometimes I've seen it firsthand where a person literally overlooks the correction and goes right to the website because they found what they were looking for. So misspellings, what words get misspelled that align with your service, that align with your product, that align with your business? Use those as well. That's why your keywords should be a huge spreadsheet full of details, full of information, right? Of knowing exactly which keywords to use in which platform you're using, whether it's SEMrush, whether it's Moz, SEO Optimizer, Uber Suggest, whichever one you're using, you should have that spreadsheet of keywords already ready to go. And the best part about this, and I'll leave you with this with keywords, is that these keywords, you should be using this across the board. I've seen people where they're like, keywords and your tags on YouTube should be different, or they don't matter. The reason why that's utter nonsense, straight up, is because there's a reason why when you put in a Google search or any search nowadays, movies pop up, films pop up, videos pop up, videos that are shared publicly on Vimeo, videos that are on YouTube, videos that are on, even now it's that searchable TikTok and Instagram, right? Your hashtags, your tags, those keywords that you're using, you should be using those across the board, because if they align to your brand and your value and your message, you want that to be a consistent message. Now, obviously, they don't have as much traction based on what YouTube has told us when it comes to tags, but at the same time, it doesn't hurt, because now you're aligning omni-channel communication. When people are looking for this particular phrase, or they're searching with that particular phrase, you come up. Keywords. The cornerstone, the foundation, the most important aspect of search engine optimization. All right. Strategically use, put it in the metadata, content, all the elements that you have that you're putting content out there, your keywords need to be a part of it. If you don't get anything else down, get that down packed, understand that. Next up, we will go into another cornerstone, another key point or keyword, another key to search engine optimization. Okay, so next up is on-page SEO. Now, on-page SEO refers to optimization techniques applied directly to the website's content, the face of the website, to display what you see. It's all in-house, the way I look at it, right? It's all internal. So it basically focuses on improving the visibility and the ranking of the website, like all aspects of SEO does, but those that are pertaining only to what is on the page, on the actual web page. For example, your keywords, those are on your pages, right? That's in the copy of the website. The titles, the meta tags, meta descriptions, everything that's behind the scenes, but it's still within the website itself. But the search engines can search this, right? Because when you build a website properly, you would upload that website to search engines like the webmaster tools, the consoles. This is why a lot of websites once again, there's great website builders out there for everybody, and that's the whole point. But this is why a lot of websites that are built by people who just don't know these techniques and don't know these specifics of the trade and of the industry, it's harder for them. And to be real with you, this is why I mentioned this earlier. If you don't do proper SEO, You're always going to spend a lot more time and money on influencer marketing, content marketing. But really, content marketing is a part of SEO. I don't know why people separate it, but it is. But influencer marketing and advertising to get traffic to your website, because you didn't do all these little things. And these are little things. This can literally be done. Everything that we're going over today can be done in one day. And I don't know about you, but if my business, this is my livelihood, this is what I'm about to spend, or I'm expecting to spend a lot of time and get a lot of money back out of, it's worth putting 24 hours in. If I'm going to spend 9, 10, 12 hours working for somebody else, it's worth me putting 9, 10, 12 hours into what I really believe in my business, and just going through all these basic, these SEO things, right? So I can save money and get more traffic to my website. So look at it from that perspective, because now we also have optimizing images in multimedia. Critical. This is all on-page SEO. Optimizing media, optimizing images. I hear this all the time, but very few people explain it. What it means to optimize an image, what it means to optimize content in multimedia, it means you're literally making sure that that image, video, audio, whatever it may be, comes up easily in a very reasonable amount of time. And we're talking about within seconds. Easily displayed, clearly displayed, pops up within seconds on anyone's device. Now, it's harder to test for this when you're doing this all on your own, but it can still be done. So think about it this way. If you have ultra high definition video, you have high definition, images that you're using on your website, that takes up a lot of memory, takes up a lot of space. You can compress those. They're built-in compressors. WordPress has a lot of plugins that compress images and content for you. Fantastic tools, very easy. A lot of them are free. You can even find an online compressor very easily. Tools like Canva, where you can change the sizes of your images or video, or at least, nowadays it's gotten that way. It wasn't that way when it first came around, but Canva's advanced a lot since the past few years. So there are a lot of opportunities where you can make sure that images are compressed, videos are compressed to where it doesn't destroy the quality, but it helps it load faster on devices. This hurts your ranking if you're not doing this. There's no question about that. The other aspect is internal linking and URL structure. Don't just go swapping pages in and out. Think about it this way. A page was once available. You did all the SEO work you've done before, you were supposed to do. And then one day you say, you know what? I don't want that page to be public anymore. I want that page to be private. Put it behind a paywall. But now you don't want it to be searched necessarily by search engines, because you don't want people just going to it. They have to sign in or they have to pay for it. Well, what happens? You've blocked it. That can hurt your search ranking, right? Because the search engines can no longer read what's on the page. So you need to remove it from the console. You need to remove it from the webmaster tools on these different search engines. If you haven't done that, told you, that's what we got. That's what we're here for. So there's instructions on how to, upload your website to webmaster tools and consoles for the different search engines, because that's what you want them to do. You want them to read all the pages. But when a page is no longer supposed to be available and you just remove it from your menu, you remove it from your listing in Wix or whatever platform you're using, you got to make sure you're not telling search engines to still go find that page, because they're going to look for it. And if it's not there, hurts your ranking. Finally, brought it up when it came to images and video, but it goes across the board. Mobile friendliness. It's what they call responsiveness. Now, I can't tell you right now. Nowadays, my life is so much better. Every single website builder has something that's dedicated to making sure the website looks good across mobile devices, right? Stats have shown us more and more people. The numbers of people buying products off of e-commerce websites on their mobile devices was through the roof this year. Through the roof. And it's only going to get crazier, right? And that's not just one country. That's across the board. That's all over the world. It's just going to it's going to happen even more, right? And I'm not talking about going to social media. I'm saying they're going directly to websites, e-commerce websites. Send a test link to a friend with an iPhone and a friend with an Android. Make sure that people can pull it up on their tablet. Do not publish a website before you do this. Do not. Just that simple. Don't do it. Don't you dare do it. I can see you doing it right now. Get your finger off the publish button. Anyway, so told you I like bad dad jokes. Come on now. Bear with me. This is all on-page SEO. And if you use the workbook that's going to be available from this episode, it's going to be real easy for you to find the keywords, real easy for you to go through these tests. And frankly, save yourself a lot of time. But most importantly, it's worth that time. Now, let's go to the other aspect, because we talked about on-page SEO. Now, there's off-page SEO too, right? Off-page, the cool part about it is a lot of this stuff, it's just like keywords. It's very straight to the point. It sounds like exactly what it is. Off-page SEO means everything that's off of the website, everything outside of the website. Now, there was one aspect, such as like links. You want to make sure those links within the website. Let's say you link to from the home page to your contact page, and the contact page is still there. That's an internal link. Now, let's say you take a link. There's a link on your contact page that links out to an article about your business. That's an external link, right? That's a link that's going back outside of your website. And then there's also backlinks, which is literally a link from your website. So let's say it's on, you were lucky enough to get into Forbes, right? And on Forbes website, they add a link to your website. That's a backlink because it's backlinking. It's going backwards to your website. Sounds very difficult sometimes, but it's not. You have to make sure these links are active. If these links aren't active, you've made them. Let's say they've been good for 1, 2, 3, maybe even 10 years. I do this every single month, and there's great tools to help you do this. I do this every single month. I do a backlink check. That backlink check makes it really simple to say, hey, okay, all these links have been made. Are all these links still active? And if they're not active, we got to delete them. We got to get rid of them because they're going to hurt your search engine optimization. They're going to hurt your search rankings, right? Very simple test. Links to the different tools that are suggested in the description of this episode will help you do that. Next up, social media marketing and brand mentions. Now, some people consider them different. I'm not going to consider them different in this case. This is a backlink. All of these go into backlinks. In my opinion, there are people who separate them. I'm only separating them because when you speak to others, others will do the same. So that way you can align the two. Like I said, man, let me tell you right now, I've been working in web design and graphic design. A lot of cats make this stuff way more complicated than it has to be. I'm just being real. They make it more complicated because they're speaking from the technical designer creative side. They're not looking at it from the business owner side. Thankfully I've seen it from both sides, and I can tell you right now, I even get confused. So anyway, let's talk about brand mentions, social media, and also guest blogging. All of these are also backlinks. All of these are backlinks. Okay. I would always suggest, though, if you can, don't focus on one side of it. In other words, guest blogging, if you can get somebody to be a guest blog on your website and you guest blog on their website, that's a beautiful exchange because that person will also focus on making sure that that link is active too. So basically, it kind of helps you. It's less of your work. Hey, let's be honest, right? It's like two people focusing on the same job. If one person misses it, the other person picks it up. It's an opportunity to make sure to get the best out. It's kind of teamwork in that respect. And social media marketing, I'm always, of course, going to say speak for your website. Of course, focus on your website first. But social media, mention your website. Mention those pages. Link to those pages. And do the exact same practice. Make sure those posts are still up. Make sure those posts are active. Make sure those posts are updated if they need to be updated. It's a weird concept. I know we're in this minute rice kind of world that we're in right now. But it's funny how somebody will make a piece of content from 5 or 6 years ago and completely forget about it, even though the issue, the topic that they brought up becomes relevant again, or even becomes more relevant, or something pops up where it's like, oh my God, this guy was talking about this, or this one was talking about this years ago, right? Unfortunately, people only bring up like old tweets and stuff like that during bad stuff, but good stuff too, you should. So I've seen a few people do this and it helps them a great deal. Go back to those old Instagram posts. Flip it around, turn it into a story. Flip it around, turn it into some reels. Make it into YouTube shorts. That's the cool part of it. That's one of my favorite aspects of YouTube is that a video could be up there for 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 years, right? And it's still getting traction. Social media, this is why I never consider YouTube social media. It is more of a search engine because it works more like this. And that's how search engine works. It'll pull up old blogs. I think I brought this up in multiple episodes. How I heard a friend who had a blog post. Now it's like, I got to believe it's like 7 or 8 years now. And this dude is still making money from that one blog post. Not to say he hasn't had hundreds of other blogs. Of course he has. But what I'm saying is that one blog post, because that topic is it has good search volume. And the fact is he put it on a really good website. The website isn't, really super busy, but it's a good website for that topic and that subject matter to where he still gets a lot of traction. And sadly, no one has written as good as an in-depth article like he has on that topic. that's a great example of why blogging is so important. I've said it before. I've made mention before. I'm even linked to, we have an episode about, blogging and putting blogs on your website and why they're so important. Put a link to that as well, because that's very important and that's a great way to keep traffic going. The next up is search intent. Search intent, it refers to the user's inquiry or the user, what they're looking for. What's their query? What are they looking for? Is it informational? Is it, maybe they're looking for something when it comes to navigation? Or are they looking for something transactional? They're ready to take an action. Are they here to purchase shoes? I want to buy this shoe, or I'm looking for this shoe to buy, or I'm, that kind of thing. What is the intent of the search? This aligns with your keywords too. So when you're thinking about it, look at it this way. The keyword that I'm using for this page, what would be the intent? I know I'm getting a little deeper for me, but once again, this is a business owner, right? So if I'm a business owner, have a website for a cafe, is somebody coming to this page to learn how the coffee's made, the nutritional facts? Are they looking for, how they can order a bag of beans? What are they looking for? Are they looking for how the price of coffee is going through the roof right now and I'm going through a lot of hell over here? I'm sorry. Trauma. Coffee has gotten really expensive, and you know how much I love my coffee. So what is the factor? What is the intent of that search? That should tell you what keywords to use on which pages. Starting to make some more sense when those keywords, how you can't just stuff a keyword into any page, right? It needs to make sense. It needs to be in context with the content. Okay. Understanding the intent helps immensely with tailoring your content. Why do people come to your Instagram? Are people going to your Instagram for the same thing they're going to your TikTok or your YouTube page for? Didn't think about that before. And if you have thought about it, great. Cool. You're right on the path. If you haven't, think about that. Because that could change the entire trajectory of what you do on each social media platform and which platforms you actually should be on and shouldn't be on. Because some of them just might be a waste of time. And I'm not BSing you around. They just might be a waste of time. Just to be there, Protect your brand? Yes, I understand that. But just put in energy just to be there and say, hey, I have a TikTok and you're not getting traction. I have Instagram, not getting traction. What's the intent of your users when they're looking for your content? That starts with the keywords and goes through everything that you do from that point on. Next up is ranking. Now, ranking is, once again, kind of straightforward how it sounds, but going to get a little more technical here. This is the position of your web page, okay, in the search engine results. You'll hear this called out sometimes, SERPs. Okay, SERPs. So search engine results pages, and that's what the P stands for. It's kind of weird. Anyway, for a specific query, for a specific search, right? The higher the ranking, well, the greater your visibility. That makes perfect sense, right? So if your page is ranked higher, right? If you have a higher DAPA, domain authority is for the overall domain, and PA is for the page authority. You're getting more traffic. You're getting more traction. You have better visibility. Once again, context, content. Page rankings are based on evidence and relevancy. Okay. Authority. That's why I said DA is the domain authority. PA is the page authority. And of course, user experience. If that video, I'm going to show you how it all connects. If that video is taking forever to load, and I don't go back to that website, and now 2,000 people do it, 20,000 people do it, 200,000 people do it, that page is not going to get a high ranking, even though 200,000 people are going to that page. Oh, they leave literally within seconds. That the video didn't load or the image didn't load properly. Optimization on all aspects counts towards this, counts towards ranking high, because you want to come up in those first 3 or 4 or 5 results. Remember, almost 90% of people do not go past the first page of Google on any topic. 90%. And if you want to be that person who says, hey, I don't mind going for that last 10%. Okay, great. Don't get me wrong. That's still a significant amount of people. I will say that. But you don't want all of your pages being back there somewhere for every single keyword. If you have hundreds of keywords, maybe 10, maybe 20, okay. They don't ever show up on the first page or second page. But all of them? All your products? That's rough. Search itself. Search. Literally refers to the act of someone searching. Like I said, a lot of stuff is very straightforward, but it's important to have it in a full understanding as best as possible when you're putting your business online, because you want to know what's impacting. Because at this point, you could be paying a lot of money and not getting the results, and you don't understand it. It could be one of these little areas of being missed, because they also impact paid ads, which goes to search engine page results. Or results page. I just brought that up. The page that actually displayed right by the search. So in other words, the response to the query, that first page of Google, the second page of Google, I keep bringing those up. So you're going to have a mix. You're going to have organic, which are the ones that are just using SEO, right? Then you have paid ads, usually the sponsored ads that show up higher than SEO, which makes sense. They're paying for it. It's a premium. That's fine. But you don't want to that's the only way you show up on the first page, because you're paying a lot of money, right? The more the more competition for those keywords, because you're paying for keywords, then the higher amount of money you're going to have to pay to show up. And if you're using all the wrong keywords, you know what that means? You're probably paying a lot of money for feature snippets. Those are on the side. You see those all the time, little highlights. And then the local listings, once again, very important that all aspects of your business is taken care of. All those key points that you should have on that website should be also in that business profile listing, should be on your Facebook like page. Consistency across board, right? Look at it from an omni-channel aspect. We talked about backlinks. Everything should be looked at as a backlink. Now, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of people who would, focus strictly on, guest blogging or my page being mentioned in a list somewhere. No, every aspect should be looked at as a backlink, because poor quality is poor quality, and it's gonna flow through. Like I said, the search engines are looking at every aspect. They're looking at context. They're looking at the actual context of the content. And if you're just throwing your website name and your business name on a website that, one, is totally out of context of what you do and the value you bring and the solutions you have, and worse yet, it's actually going to harm you, because then people are looking at, I thought that was a web design company, but everybody over here is talking about them on an insurance website. And it has nothing to do with web design. What's going on? What's the context? Are they talking about insuring web design businesses? No, I just wanted a backlink. So I just paid to get my name on a bunch of different websites. Well, that's just dumb. Or somebody say, hey, you know what? You could write a blog on my website, but it has nothing to do with the business that I'm involved in. I'll give a good example of this, right? A good example of the positive way of doing it. So I've written articles for different businesses that I have created websites for, logos for, brand packets, and they're in different industries. But I'm always under, and this is the important factor, always under one of two categories on that website's blog. If I'm writing an article about it, I'll be in the marketing of said industry. So marketing for music, or music marketing, right? If I'm talking about music, or another industry that, once again, not my profession, not my area of expertise, real estate, but real estate marketing, right? Digital marketing for real estate. I will always make sure that in context of the content, and that's a good backlink. But if I'm just saying, hey, real estate, let's talk about, how the taxes are going up, and I'll write an article about web design, and somebody says, you know what, hey, this website gets a lot of traffic, and they only talk about real estate taxes and property taxes, but you should show don't put your blog about web design on there just because that website gets a lot of traffic. Because then you're throwing people off. What is this guy even talking about? Does he even know what he's talking about? And then they're even going to question the quality of that website overall. So when you're thinking about things like backlinks, keep that in mind. Context, quality of that content, where it's being posted, how it's being posted, where it's being shared, who's talking about it. Protect your reputation. Remember, it's very easy to destroy a reputation. It takes forever. It takes a lifetime to build it. One statement can jack it all up. can completely destroy your brand reputation, right? Finally, sitemap. Like I said, I tried to keep this as close to being where you don't have to be a coder, you don't have to be a developer. And nowadays, best part about it, you don't have to be even for this. But a sitemap for those who don't know, often it's called the XML. Don't get it confused with HTML. XML. Right? File that lists the important pages of a website. This is when I talked about uploading your website to a console, uploading your website to Webmaster Tools for different search engines. This is specifically what you'll be doing because you want those search engines to literally have a map of your entire website and how it's connected. Now you've done that. That's why when you go back in, I told you I'm going to connect the dots for you. That's why if you go back in and you start saying, okay, I'm going to move this page, remove that page, you've given that search engine a map. And now that map has changed. And you're not telling that search engine, hey, don't look at these pages anymore because I'm removing them. Now that search engine is looking for those pages. Like, what happened? What'd you do with them? Where do I go? Which one did you do? Yes, that's how Google sounds. Sounds just like that. You didn't know that? Google sounds. Dad jokes, y'all. Dad jokes. Okay, so getting back to it. That's what the sitemap is for. Makes it really easy for search engines to search your website. And frankly, it's one of the most overlooked areas within the last year. Think about 60 or 65 sitemaps had to be redone. I'm talking about just for me. I'm talking literally just for me. That might not sound like a lot, but think about the time, money, effort, and energy people are putting into their small businesses. This is your business website. This matters. You want people to find that content. That's products that weren't being seen. That's services that weren't being seen by customers. That's pages that were not getting indexed and pages that people could not get to when they were putting in a search that had literally the sales, the deals, the offerings that they wanted that nobody was looking at. Right? So very important to understand these core concepts of SEO. When we come back, we have some more fun concepts. I went over those are the key terms, right? We get a little more in the nitty gritty of some things that get a little overlooked, some areas that need to be focused on, what I like to call, others have called this as well, but I also like to call it the trinity of SEO. All right, now, y'all, so let's get into it, the trinity of SEO. And I learned this about, I want to say 5, maybe 6 years ago, when people kept talking about the same 3 aspects. And I didn't initially call it the trinity, but I noticed that that term had been coined. Some people have used the trinity of Google, but I've mostly heard it the trinity of SEO. And the first portion of that, first point, is speed. So brought it up in optimization of your content, optimization of, everything that you have on page, site speed, and the mobile friendliness of your website is critical, right? It's absolutely critical. If the content's not loading, if the images aren't popping up sharply and efficiently on anyone's device, they're not going to keep coming back to your website, right? There's no need for them. And search engines, as much as people want to, throw out, well, Google does this, Yahoo does that. But listen, at the end of the day, I will say this: the people who are dedicating time to make sure they have the best user experience possible, they are getting they're getting not only good traction, but they're getting the conversions. They're getting the return on investment on their website. Now, there's a lot of elements to it, and that's why it's the Trinity. But the first aspect is the speed. I brought it up before. Minute rice world we're in. Look at TikTok. Look at YouTube Shorts. Short form content isn't going anywhere. I'm a fan of long form content, clearly, but short form content is not going anywhere. And that shows you that if your website is taking 5, 10, 20 seconds to load one aspect of the content, the image of the product, the text, the copy that you want people to read and understand, that you probably spent hours, maybe paid somebody to write. Maybe you paid me to write it. I've done that before where I've written it and I saw a slow website. And sure enough, this was one of the very first times I offered any type of SEO services because I knew how much that was impacting. I'm like, dude, I just wrote all these descriptions and no one's even going to look at it. I'm going to just be real with you. And thankfully, the guy was wise enough to say, yeah, I need somebody to look at this. You're getting started. Let's do it. And it worked out. Very good website, very good business. Site speed, loading times. Look at these things. These are all going to be your reports if you use any one of the SEO tools that I've suggested in the description of this episode. Consistency. Now, this one I think it's funny how this one goes across the board of anything. You notice anything we talk about success comes back to consistency. Anything. Your website's no different. Your business online is no different. Consistency of updating the keywords. Keywords may change. It happens all the time. That's why I said you have to have a huge list of keywords, because not one word is going to summarize everything on that website, right? Not even one phrase in some cases, or at least not a search phrase, right? So with consistency, you're testing. Consistency, you're reviewing your keywords. Consistency, you're updating those keywords. Consistency, here's the big one. Consistency, you're uploading new content. You're testing new content. Consistency. You're not doing it once and saying, I'm never gonna look at it again. I love it when I meet the people who like, hey, I built that website 2 years ago and it's trash, it's horrible, it doesn't get any sales. And I'm like, well, when was the last time you worked on it? Worked on it? I don't know. Oh, I've literally had a response. Somebody goes, oh. A person spent thousands of dollars to get this thing built. And you know what they said? Oh, well, that's how your results are going to be. Let's keep it a bean, bro. Let's just keep it real. Publishing new content, critical. Best thing about this, go get somebody to write blogs for you. There's tons of great writers out there. I talked it up. I love the platform Medium. There's tons of writers on different topics on Medium. If you're looking for really good professional writers, right there. Upwork, Fiverr, great places to find writers. And going right into writing, another aspect is finally, or at least the final piece of the trinity, another aspect of consistency is content. Content. I know there are people who hate that term, content. Actually, this is the perfect use of the word, because it's not just video, it's not just audio, it's not just images, it's everything. It's everything. And your website, because you don't know, if you don't know who that customer is, right? Especially if you're just getting started. The customer that walks through your door of your physical storefront definitely has some differences from the person who's shopping online. But do you know how different? Not just yet. Test with different content. You'll find out. Are they more responsive to long form copy? So they want long blog posts. Maybe they engage more with blog posts. Maybe they look at video, watch your tutorials. When they come in, they don't want to talk all of, man, I don't want to sit down and hear you 20 minutes tell me how to use the device or how to, what the forms are going to do. But maybe I want to check out a video exactly what happens. One of the biggest misses on every single website, I'm not joking, every single website, is the lack of video tutorials. Not just case studies. I'm going to get to that in a second, but video tutorials. Case studies are right behind it. Testimonials, reviews, but video tutorials. If you give somebody a video tutorial, why do you think Amazon has invested so much in that? Why do you think Amazon pushes you to get UGC? User-generated content. Because video tutorials are a game changer. I'm not saying don't download the instructions. I love it. I went to this one website for a piece of furniture. It had the video tutorial in two languages that you could download, and the actual text, the copy of the instructions were in multiple languages, or more than two languages, but the video was in two languages. I'm like, dude, that's perfect, because they know who that customer is. They didn't do it in the native language the actual company was based in. They did it in the language that people are ordering that product the most, right? The countries that are ordering that product. Fantastic move, because they know their customer. That content is a game changer. I will gladly buy product from them again, because I know they're thinking about stuff like that. They know you're going to have a question. And most importantly, a person from the country that buys the product just as much as the primary country, right? The primary consumers, or the largest group of consumers. They're catering to them. That's what good business owners do. They know that customer, and they're creating for them. So the trinity is site speed, consistency, and content. They all go together. The content should be optimized so the site can load fast across all devices. You should have consistent update to your content. That includes your keywords. Like I said, I'm using content. I know there are people who hate the term content in content marketing, but this works perfectly because it's all forms: keywords, images, video, audio. It's all forms of content. Test it out, see what works, see what doesn't work. You could consider those the trinity, the three pillars, but that is a cornerstone of SEO. You see, the trinity summarizes and goes over everything, kind of puts it all together in a nice little bucket, right? So you have speed, consistency, content. When we come back, we're going to get into a few of the more creative areas, and we're going to look at examples of SEO and sites that are doing it right. Okay, so now let's get into the very technical side of SEO. You don't have to be a computer scientist. Call that out right now, but it's going to be very important that you take some time. It's going to be some trial and error, but you've already invested the time and energy into having the storefront, into making the product, manufacturing services, whatever it may be, your skill set. You've done that investment. Now you bring your business online. Take the time and invest in yourself here as well. And there's a lot of cool courses you can take to help you learn these things, but these are the basics of the technical side of SEO. Website crawlability and indexing. Start off with that. That's the most critical area, if anything. Brought up sitemap, right? The structure of your website, the way the files are listed, making sure that's uploaded into a console or webmaster tools so it can properly crawl and check your website and see the actual pages that are there on the website. Next one is a robots file, and then a non-index tag and canonical tags. Now, the robot file, which pages should not be crawled. Non-index tags, specifically, I just called it out a little earlier. It specifically calls out which pages, right? Which pages not to index, which pages not to search, which pages not to track. Canonical, now this is the one that gets probably the most, I would say the most attention, but is used to specify the preferred version of a page. So if there's duplicates, say, no, this is the actual page, this is what it should look like. You're literally telling the search engines what to look for, right? Site structure. Brought up the URLs. URLs should be short, but they should also be descriptive. This is where people, they try to stuff those, like I said, those short tail keywords, and it doesn't really tell the website, or it doesn't tell, the search engine about the website. Your internal linking went over that, connecting the links between the pages and making sure that they are there. The breadcrumbs, and we've seen this, where it's that navigation where it tracks back to the main page. The breadcrumbs, you want that. This helps the search engine track your site and read your site, just like it helps a human being track and read the site. So they're kind of working hand in hand. It's not trying to lose anybody. Like, well, this is focusing strictly on the website or the search engines for the website. This is focusing strictly on the human user. Well, they kind of work together, if you notice that. Page load time, we talk about that. Upload speed. We want to make sure that things are loading fast in a decent pace. This comes significantly from the coding side of things, though, right? When it comes to optimizing those images, but also you minimize the JavaScript, the CSS files. Now, like I said, a little more technical, but if you're working with a web developer, they should be doing this for you. You should be able to double check this and make sure it's getting done. Did you compress and did you optimize those files in the code of those files? Core Web Vitals. Now, Google, this was actually a Google initiative, and it measured the experience through different metrics of the website. And I brought up how one example would be the visibility of the content on the website, right? Are people connecting, or people, I should say, engaging with the content on the website? Google's tracking that and is looking at that. This is important stuff to understand when you're saying, hey, I want to throw up a video, I want to put up some images. No one's going to it. No one's looking at it. But if you're looking at these metrics in your Google Search Console, then you'll be able to know this is working, this isn't working. Hosting quality. Hosting quality is big. I brought up multiple hosts in different websites. We had episodes about website builders. We've had episodes about different options when it comes to the type of business that you have. Hosting quality, let me tell you right now, that can in some cases make or break your website. There's a lot of good hosts out there, but then there's also some hosts that just don't put the time and effort and energy into it. We will have links to those hosts in the description. The hosts that are really good and solid for different types of websites. Mobile friendliness, brought that up as well. When it comes to, is the website displayed very well across devices? And then the accelerated mobile pages, right? This is a specific framework designed to make pages load faster on mobile devices. Really was pushed by Google early on. We're seeing it more and more becoming more of relevance. Even some web builders and some website tools help you optimize your site for these things. This is why I said some sites are better for e-commerce than others, because they're optimized and they're designed already with that in mind. So you just go in and build and start adding your product. You don't have to worry about a lot of these additional optimization features. SSL certificate. Let me tell you right now, if nothing else, as a consumer, when you start going to websites, I definitely suggest you guys go out to websites and start checking this stuff out. Never spend money on a website that doesn't have an SSL certificate. And you can test that out by quickly just looking at the top in that browser, right? At the top in the search bar. If you don't see that HTTPS, don't add no credit card. And be very cautious, and I do mean this, be very cautious about putting in any personal information. Even if it's not asking for payment or anything, just because there's a level of security. It's a security certificate for that website. And if you don't see that, don't put your personal information in there. Don't do it at all. Just throwing that out there right now. And actually, the funny thing about that is, as well they should, Google considers this a ranking factor. So if an e-commerce website, you will have this option when you buy your domain. You will have this option when you pay for your hosting. When an e-commerce website goes live, if you're telling people, hey, come to my website, spend money, come to my website and spend money, but you didn't make sure you paid that extra, and it literally could be $1, $2, $3, $5 maybe to buy this certificate from your web host and from your domain, let me tell you right now, Google's going to automatically ding you for that, because they're saying you're asking people to spend money on your website, but you're not making sure that website is secure and protecting their information, so other people can't hack in, find it, can't see it, it's not visible to the dark web, anything like that. That SSL certificate helps a significant level of security for your consumer. Google will knock you and ding you, and they'll actually hold that against you, as well they should. So if you have an e-commerce website, make sure you're also purchasing the SSL certificate when you get your domain and when you get your hosting. It's typically included too. It's maybe an extra $1 or $2 in some cases, but it's typically included. Structured data and schema markup. Okay, this is the code added to a website to provide search engines additional context of how to search and what to look for in the content, and to better understand what's going on the website. Reviews, fact, case studies, like it helps it in context of everything that's there. Once again, the breadcrumb markup follows that, and very similar. I brought up about the breadcrumbs earlier. Here's a big one: the error pages and redirects. You may take a page down. This is the cool part of things like WordPress, and a lot of the website builders that are out there now. You may take a page down. You may hide it. You may put it behind a paywall. It may no longer be searchable, and a URL isn't accessible. We've seen this called. It's called a 404 error, right? Where a page just cannot be found. Make a custom 404 page where it directs people back, or it informs them what's going on or what happened, how they got to this page. But it takes them back to a specific place with a clear call to action. Click this button to go back home. Click this button to contact us. Click this button to do this. Just did this recently for a client. 404 pages can come up, and it can't happen. It can't come up in search engines. And if you treat them correctly, if you, like I said, you customize them correctly, they can actually be a great way to drive traffic to your website and get sales and get conversions. So be very cautious in how you deal with your errors. International SEO. Now, I don't hear enough people talking about this, but I brought it up in an example before when I talked about the furniture. Who's going to that page? So what we started doing in my agency is because I saw traffic coming from specific countries, and we got 2 clients that spoke Spanish. That was a native language. They focus heavily on Spanish-speaking markets. Spain, Mexico. It was like, well, why are we putting the content? If we're getting clients from this place, if we're getting customers from this place, if we're getting customers and clients who maybe it's not their first language, maybe it's their second language, or vice versa. Let's make sure we have content that can help them identify what we do, what value we bring, and we appreciate, whether they're customers, their clients, potential business partners. That's the whole point. You got to know your audience. You got to focus on your audience. It's not about you. It's about them. I know that sounds so cheesy, but truly, it's about them. So where are you getting the traffic? Where are you getting customers from? Where are you getting your sales? And this will also tell you any future options and opportunities you have for products and services. Finally, analytics and monitoring, and of course, JavaScript itself. Analytics and monitoring, I brought that up before. You got to be using the right tools. There's a lot of free tools. There are a lot of free tools like Google Search Console. There's Microsoft Bing Webmaster Tools that you should be using to monitor your website. But then there's also, and I brought those up in the description of this episode, there's some links to different SEO tools that we've used in the past, that we currently use, that would be great opportunities for you to take advantage of and to utilize as well. And then finally, brought this up before, JavaScript. Just making sure you have the code right properly. Just making sure you have the code on your website rendered correctly. It ensures important content is rendered via JavaScript. It's accessible to all search engines. Okay. And also make sure that you're not, using a file that's a corrupted file, or you're not using images that can't be crawled by web crawlers. There's different tools online to help you do this as well. But if you're working with an experienced SEO, they'll be able to help you and identify this also. With that, that's the more and very technical. Try to keep it as straightforward without losing everybody. But we have, of course, a very in-depth description of this episode. If you check us out on Medium, where you can look at the full transcript of the episode, and you can see, you can find links to each of those topics and further descriptions. We're going to close it out with the best practices and the most overlooked aspect of SEO. All right, now, y'all. So we brought up the very technical. We went over the non-technical. We went over the key terms and the pillars. Here are the most overlooked 3 elements of SEO that I don't hear people connecting to SEO enough. There are a few out there, but not everyone does. And if you are speaking to an SEO professional, if you are trying to be an SEO professional, never forget these, because this can literally make or break the success of your website or the success of your overall, campaign. Maybe you're doing landing pages, multiple websites, or whatever it may be. Number 1 is social media. Social media is SEO. I don't care how. There's no way to. What the hell? And you know why I say that? Because they're search engines. Instagram results, TikTok, Twitter or X, they come up in search engine results. How are they not part of search engine optimization? If you consider social media, now don't get me wrong, there may be aspects of the social media that you're not going to touch. Like you might not create all the content, but the keywords to use, the hashtags to use, when you're posting new content, backlinks, what is it linking back to? Sounds like SEO to me. It sounds exactly like SEO to me. It's just off-page SEO. There's no other way to look at that. Which leads to the second most important pillar, an overlooked area of SEO. YouTube. YouTube is not social media. If YouTube was social media, they would have way better tools for people to connect with their communities. We all know anyone who makes content on YouTube will tell you this. It's not there yet. Will it ever get there? Hopefully, but it's not there yet. It's not the, That's why you have every single person who has a YouTube and they're really popping on that YouTube and they really want to build out their community. They're working through Discord, Reddit, X, Instagram, if not all the above, for good reason. But it is a search engine, and we all hear it. It's the second most used and second most visited website in the world. It's been that way consistently, pretty much damn near since its inception, which is crazy. Since it got established, that's absolutely nuts. The fact is, you can do so much with the tools on YouTube to build out your audience, but also to bring traffic back to your website. Embedding the videos on your website is number one. Chopping up blog posts and making them into YouTube videos, making them into shorts, whatever it may be. Like I've brought this up before, how we make video articles. I love making video articles. That's actually one of the first things I ever did on YouTube. One of the first things I ever made on YouTube was a video article. Took a blog post from someone and we made a video out of it. And that's what I was like, hey, you know what? I'm like YouTube for myself. Let me find different ways to use it. We did the same thing with case studies. How we made video case studies and we made video blog posts. So the best part about that is now you're leveraging not only the most powerful or the most powerful content platform, right? But the second most used search engine as well. That is SEO. Your keywords should be aligning to your tags. Your keywords should be aligning to your titles. Your keywords should be aligning to the file titles and the file names, right? And the meta tags and the metadata. Which goes to the very last visual search engine that, when you use this thing, it's incredibly powerful. Has a very tight community, but a very important community. Pinterest. Pinterest is a part of SEO, right? And for my old school cats, y'all know what I'm gonna touch on for a second. Tumblr, that's what Tumblr used to be, and Tumblr could have. I'm not gonna get into it. We could have a whole, breakdown case study of Tumblr and weird enough how it tumbled. But Pinterest, man, it is a visual search engine. Now, I get what you're gonna say. If anybody out there, you should reply, you should rebut with this one. Well, what about Instagram? If you ask about that, that's a very good example. Here's what people don't say about Pinterest as they do say about Instagram. It's a lot of noise. And remember, with the search engine, you're looking at search intent. What is that person looking for? What questions are they looking to get answered? What problems are they looking at? They can get right to that on Pinterest way better than they could on Instagram. Not to say, but I summed up all of social media, right? That's where Instagram is. This is specifically for Pinterest because it's getting there, but it doesn't have that exact social factor yet. It has that search factor that people are looking for. Because I don't go to Instagram to connect with a bunch of other people necessarily, right? Go to Instagram to do what? Search for specific content that I'm looking for a topic. That is a search engine. Sharing blog posts. You're not doing that. You should be. Blogs blew up with Pinterest. But now you're seeing e-commerce websites go crazy. And you know what? E-commerce websites that integrate a blog. Beautiful. So, get your social media game. What are those platforms that are best for you in your business? Making sure your content, your tags, your keywords, your imagery is aligned. Social media. YouTube. If you're not using it, you should use it. Your case studies, your blog posts, your tutorials. If any business owner, what do I post on YouTube? It's a great question. Easy. Case studies, reviews, testimonials, tutorials, instructions, how-tos. It's not hard. You don't have to be the next great, YouTube channel right now. Just get started and use it for what it's worth as a search engine. And then finally, same thing, Pinterest. Those three areas you don't hear enough. Maybe YouTube. I'm starting to see a little bit more social media, but listen, business owners, listen. If you're talking to a search engine optimization expert, analyst, a search engine optimization agency, and they don't tell you anything about, hey, this is what we're also going to make sure YouTube is aligned to, social media is aligned to, Pinterest is aligned to, Question what they do. I can't stress that enough. Question what they do. Those are the most overlooked areas of search engine optimization. Normally, close out an episode with two things: what to read and some offers. Offers, what we give you for free to help you get started, because the whole point of the Ambition Show podcast is not necessarily that you're just listening, taking in information. It's to apply. I'm going to get right to the offer right off the bat. There is a workbook. There's a website workbook. I've included this in the past episode to give you another chance to get the workbook. It's when you build out your first website. I've used this for clients for years. We keep going back to it, refining it, getting it better, getting feedback. We'd love to know your thoughts on it as well. Number 2 is a free website scan for your website and finding a lot of these SEO. If these SEO issues are there, maybe they're not there. Maybe they're not there. Maybe you built that website so beautiful from day one. Oh, okay, look at you. Okay. But wouldn't you like to have a nice little free report to tell you that? There's a link to that. So you have the link to get your free website scan. You get the report emailed back to you. And then you also have the free workbook. Download that, both free, completely free. Know what to read in this episode, necessarily. More so, kind of building on the topics that I've already gone over, right? And getting more in depth, whichever area you want to focus on, if not all the areas. Neil Patel is one of the most well-known SEO experts for good reason. He's helped some of the biggest brands, biggest companies of the world with SEO. Has a fantastic website to help you with SEO. I would always recommend, learn a lot from that website, learn a lot from his blogs, learn a lot from courses that he's led. Definitely recommend that. Moz. I've brought up Moz a couple of other times. Moz was one of the first certificates that I ever completed and I ever got when it comes to SEO. It's a great course. Met awesome people in these courses as well. Other practitioners and SEOs that I've learned from. Definitely would suggest Moz, and also following the co-founder of Moz, Rand Fishkin, who's built some great tools for not just SEO, but web developers in general. Have a link to some of his content. It's really worth following, really worth learning more about. And then finally, SearchEngineJournal. If you are, looking forward to maybe being a freelancer in SEO, if you're looking for becoming an SEO expert, and taking your baby steps now, or you're already there and you're looking for more advanced training, and most importantly, just looking at what other SEOs are talking about, encountering and learning from. To be an expert, this is why I use the term expert very rarely, but you're always willing to be challenged. And most importantly, you're always learning, because things are changing, especially when it comes to technology. But things are changing in everything. Good periodicals are where you can see what other thought leaders are doing, innovators, authorities, but people who are on the same path as you. I really enjoy a lot of the learnings on Search Engine Journal about webmasters, about web development, and learned a lot there. So I definitely would recommend and suggest them. So links, all this stuff is free, of course, always. A little bit more to read than just one book in some episodes. A little bit more to read, but nonetheless, very valuable stuff. So check out Neil Patel, check out Moz, check out Search Engine Journal. Let me know what you think. If you have a periodical or a website, a blog that you follow about SEO, I would love to know about it, because I'm always looking for a new one just to see what other people are talking about. Drop a comment. Seriously, drop a comment about that, because I would love to know what you're reading, what you're following, and who knows, it might be something I'm missing out on that I can always learn from. So with that, take advantage of the free scan, check out those websites and learn from those experts, and see what you can, what you pick up yourself for your website. Maybe your career is in SEO, who knows? Maybe we could work together, collabo. I'm always down for a good collabo. And that's it about SEO, man. It's that simple, it's that straightforward. Listen, it doesn't have to be the hardest thing in the world. Dedicate one day, one solid day on your website. You can go through all this stuff. You can listen to this episode in the background as you do it, right? Say, oh, checked off. Got that. Robot. Canonical. Seriously, you can do all those. And that's the point of this, right? Play it in the background as you go through that website and check off what you need from your website scan. Get your website scan, see what those issues are, identify what those issues are, and go ahead town to fix them. And if you need help, hey, that's what we're here for. I will see you again in our next episode of The Ambition Show. I've been your host, Aaron Muhammad. Thank you for checking out this episode. Thank you for checking out the other episodes. Let me know what you guys think about the links I sent, what other periodicals you're interested in, and don't forget to grab your free website scan because, hey, going into the new year, just going into a new month, right? You want to make sure you have your website at the place it needs to be for you to start converting and getting the business that you deserve. Peace, best to you and yours and your loved ones. Have a good one, y'all.